Yeah.
I am impressed. I'm very impressed. You guys are all here.
Let's see.
What?
Hey, Aaron, you know that being punctual is white supremacy.
It is.
Can I be in charge for what?
Oh, knock it off. God, what is that? Jesus, you get a new toy?
Good job, guys.
Oh,
John, check out my shirt, man. I got it in the mail yesterday.
Nice.
What is it?
Came out good. Printing came out good.
Zoom on you.
John's robot dog shirt.
Robot dog, sure.
Yeah.
I want one.
There we go.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Nice. Heck.
All right, let me go back to.
Oh, that's great.
Good. Well, we're all here. We all got our coffee.
I wear mine around, and people give me the weirdest looks.
They're like, what does that even mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Were we expecting Stone at all today?
Yeah, he is. He said
he's gonna be a little late.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well get the show on the road. How you guys doing?
Good. He's supposed to join us today, but that depends on when he decides to wake up.
What's the game plan the end of this month? I know a bunch of people are coming on down to Vegas. I know Thor, you're late. What's the deal on that?
Yeah, I have secured nursing, so I'll be rolling out there from the 2nd until the morning of the 5th. I'll be leaving. Yeah.
Okay. So we have John from Modern Life Dating is going to be in Vegas because he's on his presser tour or whatever, his North American tour. And so he's going to be in Vegas he'll be with me and Mike in studio on February 2nd. I don't know how long he plans to stay, but I do know he'll be there that day. And Aaron, we would like to have you in as well at the same time if that is a possibility, and you can deal with like Jet Screaming Hootie Queens one more time.
Access Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, could I just be the chauffeur that takes us all to the Grand Canyon instead? I'll just drive. I'll pay for the gas.
Well, here's the thing. I know John wants to do that, so
it's a long drive, man.
Yep. It is a long drive. I will be down. I believe on Wednesday or Thursday of next week, so I can meet up with you then too.
Oh, I was going to say, then we can also not meet up again that time as well. So we could.
Yeah, well, it is. I got to go to work, man.
I know.
The main purpose I'm coming out there was to say hi to you.
Cool. I appreciate it. Let me Rollo, let me know if you need a ride from the airport or something.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will this time because it is about a $60 ride from JSX to Summerlin. So, yeah.
$60 to get out to the west side?
$52 and a tip.
Oh, good Christ. You can get a bus pretty good. I ended up having to go out there visit a friend.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I couldn't.
Hitchhiking's free,
I couldn't get Spirit Airlines to like fly me down from Reno. So
you get. I'm not kidding. You get a connecting on Sahara. Come on, when's it? You guys all rode the bus when you were younger, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I don't know about you.
A handful of times. I didn't like it though.
Okay. I walked uphill barefoot both ways in the snow.
You're thankful.
I used to have to go to wrestling. I would ride on a school bus from my grade school to go to some other random high school and then walk over to the junior high. And I was too young to even wrestle, but the coach didn't care. And he just let anybody come in to the workout and train. So I was me and some other kids were just floating around in the ether, jumping school buses, trying to get to our end destination just so we could go and wrestle.
Remember when you needed a bus pass or a transfer?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's like, man, I got all the way within a 3-mile walk to the Southern Command for $3 from McCarran International. I feel pretty accomplished.
There's probably some shuttles I could take like to the Red Rock or something that would be a whole lot cheaper to think about it. I remember when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, right around there, like when I was an early teenager, I used to be able to get on public transportation, RTD, Rapid Transit District, and go from Pasadena, California, all the way down to Huntington Beach in the mornings of my summer vacations, go and surf, and then be back on it and be back home probably about 6:30 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
the
nice.
good old days. Yes. I am not 60 years old. You can go fuck right off. I am not there yet.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get this started because I got a topic that I don't care if it helps people. I don't. I'm mad and I'm pissed off, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to yell and scream at the young morons. Particularly, we're going after autists and spurgs, especially the fake ones.
Yes.
Who do it because that's the thing. That's the shtick. That's why they got value, because they're worthless people otherwise. This was triggered by an event, which I have to be careful about the details of which. And I was talking to a biologically full-grown adult male, and I ribbed him. I gave him guff, and it was a joke. I then received communication from this individual. I won't say how. Pages long, hurt feelings, what the hell? And I'm like, dude, it was a freaking joke. And it dawned on me that we can all be about, woman, am I right? They're dangerous and they're risky and the investment proposition isn't there. You still got to live in society. You still got to make it in this world. And the other half of the world is men. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but okay, fine. I'm very critical of women, constructively critical or criticizing. But criticize them as they may, you still need to survive. You can go without women. All right. Society will go okay, but you need men to survive. You still need to navigate and negotiate this world. And so I want to send it out here to the panel about different ways where you still have to be a man in different capacities and regards, because if you don't, you're just going to, at best, you're going to have a miserable life. And at worst, you're going to be eating a bullet. And so I want to kind of go through all that. And no other panel I could imagine, because we're all on the internet, we might have ran into our fair share of spurgs and autists on the internet. Am I correct in that at all? Anyone else seeing that?
Yes,
I would heartily agree with that. I think now, so without sounding like you're the old guy, like, shaking your fist at the clouds kind of thing. I think a lot of people, when it comes to like Cappy and I are from the same generation. We're Gen Xers. Thank you very much. Not freaking boomers. But I think that when you make observations like that, or you say, hey man, things aren't the way they used to be, like people automatically think of that as like an old guy thing. And it's not so much an old guy thing if it's true. If it's a common observation. And I think it's easier now in the internet age to sort of make those comparisons, because you can go back in time and check the video. You can go back and look at things like how things used to be and how things are right now. And I think one of the major pushbacks that you're going to get on this topic, Aaron, is it's the internet, and it's an imperfect medium. So when you go on Twitter, and this is like one of my maxims, by the way, Paul, is never use allegory, metaphor, sarcasm, hyperbole. There's no room for like nuance on Twitter. Anything that can be taken literally will be fucking taken literally. So you can't joke around. You can't rib people. You can't like poke people without people taking it absolutely 100% serious. I'll give you a case in point. Like, I can go and take a picture of like some guy who sent me a picture on, like, say, my Instagram DMs, and it's my book, and the guy happens to be in Dubai, right? And he's like, you can see like the what is it, the carousel thing that's out there on the beach in Dubai. And I go and I repost that, and people go, "Oh, how's Dubai, Rolo?" I'm like, I'm not in fucking Dubai. I'm like, showing you that my book's all, worldwide. But the problem, the presumption is that if I'm posting this book or this picture, I must be somewhere in Dubai, or I'm in freaking Norway, or I'm in, Johannesburg, South Africa, wherever it is. I literally am right there no matter what. And I think that half the reason why you get these guys who like really lose their shit is because they can't determine, or they can't discern whether you're trying to be like, you're joking around and you're ribbing them from the actual literal thing that you're saying. So I have to be real careful of things in fact, I joke around by doing that now. Like my trolling Ryan, by the way, I wish Ryan was here right now. He's the master of this, but my trolling now is knowing that I'll be taken literally if I say these things, right? Or if I go and I do like a clickbaity kind of thumbnail, like for instance, I did a midweek show on Jedediah Bila and this kid, Hunter or whatever, Avalon or something like that. And Jed got real pissed off at me. I'm like, why? This is bait. Like, relax, watch the show and you'll understand. And it's almost to the point where it's like I can do things or title things or talk about things with the foreknowledge that the people who are going to see the title and the thumbnail or whatever else, they're going to take it 100% literally, not watch the video, look at the first 4 comments in the, on the video, look at the title, and then form an opinion and know what the fuck I've been talking about. You don't have to watch all like 3 or 4 hours of it. You can watch just the first like 10 minutes of it and understand that you're an idiot for doing it.
This is it's a human thing, or is this because men have become so feminized that they behave like women now?
That's what I kind of want. Yeah, go ahead, roll, finish your observation. But John and the panel, I do have a kind of an interesting question for you guys.
I think it's both. I think half of the reason is like you got to remember, like we're in 2023. If you were born in 2000, you are 23, or you will be 23 years old this year. And this is the generation. I think we're still in Gen Z, but this is the generation that has been raised on TikTok, on Tumblr, on Twitter, on Instagram. And I think that the social skills that are necessary to determine whether somebody is fucking with you are out the window because it's too long, didn't read, and the attention spans are like so short. But they're short because that it's hyper stimulation. Oh, I should say it's what is it?
Overstimulation.
Overstimulation. It's a sensory overload, basically, is what it ends up being, and that kills a social skill. Like you and I, if I'm fucking with, like if MLD puts this thing up that says gay on, like fucking with you, we're all laughing because we get the joke. Everyone else who like of that generation thinks that he's actually calling you out as being a real, honest to goodness, dyed in the wool homosexual.
What's scary is I got people, oh my God, did you hear what Modern Life John said? I'm like, yeah, if he said something nice about me, I'd be worried about it. And apparently you and I have had beefs, Rollo, that I've been unaware of. And don't worry, Thor, you and I are going to have a tiff one of these days. Yeah. But getting back to John, you tell the story commonly about how you and your buddy were at the bar and you just noticed through behavior. Mm-hmm. And that's perhaps a little bit more of a developed and evolved skill that what I'm saying. And what I'm talking about is perhaps men over the eons have developed just the nod, like, yeah, let's go. Like, I got you. And it just takes a look. And I think because we can't just be literal. There was always like at least this one secret handshake where you knew you were bullshitting someone, like, okay, I know that guy. It's a test. It's a basic test of intelligence to see whether or not you can see through bullshit. And so I'm kind of curious, the internet ruined that? Or because there's still bullshit going on, you still can. I think the medium is different and explore the imperfect media, but you can still send a meme where I fabricate, Vince from Masculine Geek winning a gay, butt sex award on Fox News. He can still get the joke. Is it because these kids were emulsified in this internet world? Is it overload? Because they're not picking it up, man. They're not picking. There's going to be ramifications.
We talked about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we were talking about bullshitting kids.
Yes. Yes. Right? Okay. So it goes to fathers.
So I think that's part of it too. Men are failing. There's no fathers around. So you're getting a generation of little boys raised to be defective women. So, I mean, I don't know what your experiences with women are, but I've had plenty of women who took things out of context, and they took one thing I said, about something and flew off the handle. And then now we're in a big fight because she misunderstood something I said.
Well, right. But we can't, in today's world where we have abundance, we have machines doing pretty much all of our work, plenty of food. That's fine. But if there becomes tight times again, or just the bad times, or was it the Heinleinian cycle or whatever, this is critical. This is important that, like, if I'm out hunting the tribe or whatever, I give a nod to Thor, he gives a nod to me back. That's a vital communication. Also, just for trust, where it's like, I talked to Paul and I'm like, hey, what's up, dipshit? And Paul acts all offended. I'm like, I can't rely on Paul.
That's right.
And
You're
fine,
gonna
we're not
buckle under that type of nothing pressure. What are you going to do under some real pressure?
right. But I still say in today's modern world, easy as it might be, you still need to have, because again, I'm writing off women completely on interact. I'm focusing solely on men. Let's say you've written women off completely. You still need to interact with men. Men are biologically programmed, and especially if you're younger, you better pick up on some of these subtle clues where if your boss, I don't know if you guys have had this, but I've had a couple clients, oh, my boss called me gay, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, he's probably, should I file a complaint? It's like, he's probably ribbing on you. Like, it's probably a good sign.
That was something I had to learn in the military. I learned it a little bit in middle school. Well, it was junior high back in my day, but leading up through elementary school, I used to get in a lot of fist fights until my parents put me in martial arts and I learned how to sort of de-escalate. But in junior high, I started getting a lot of fights again. And a lot of it was just because, I was a little too sensitive. If people said something, mean to me, I was like, oh, just start throwing hands. And my mom ended up putting me in counseling. And that's where, counselors sort of taught me to agree and amplify before I even knew what that was called.
Yep.
And then I learned through that process. And then also, especially in the military, I mean, if people aren't giving you shit in the military, they don't like you. If they're very cordial with you, they don't like you, right? But if they're giving you shit, you'll find that they want to hang out, they want to go to the bar, they want to go, cruising for chicks with you and stuff like that. It's what guys do. And a lot of guys are a little too sensitive. They don't understand that. And then those guys too also suck with women, because if you can't handle the boys ribbing on you, you can't handle a woman shit testing you. You know what I mean?
Well, right. A lot of
that
people
was when me and my friends were in high school. Like our wave to each other was the middle finger. Like we'd look into each other's classroom, double barrel, and then we'd
middle finger. What? Explain that to me. I'm confused.
That was like our hello. Like you
You're
sneak around the
number
corner,
one.
and then he'd take off. He'd look through the window and flip them off, and then you'd go.
Yeah. What's up, fuckface? Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck face, dick face. Those were great.
Well, and here's
had this one game where we literally, when we were freshmen, we would just walk through the halls, and if you weren't looking, we'd hit you as hard as we could in the shoulder.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So,
but
like,
see,
just books flying up in the air, everybody laugh.
Nowadays they'll call that bullying and they'll call that hazing. And there's because I think really you want to say, oh well, this generation is so fragile and they've been pussified, and yeah, they have, but they've also been socialized and acculturated online to such a degree that they take everything fucking literally. It is autism times 10.
It was really sad too, because there are some kids who were less popular, and we didn't include them into the game because surprise, surprise, the jocks are actually usually the nicest people in the school. So we're including the goth dorky kids or whatever, and you could see them, they couldn't wait till maybe one of us would hit them in the shoulder. They would stand close because oh, they're coming, I'm not gonna look.
Maybe he'll hit me today.
Yeah, maybe he'll hit me today. Because it was a fun, exciting thing, because everybody laughed and everybody joke around, and it was a fun thing.
I know. I've seen, you've probably seen these threads on Twitter every once in a while. Usually they come up right around the beginning of January when everybody gets back to the gym and they've got a new membership. And my resolution is to get back in the gym. And you'll hear these people talk about oh, I can't go into the gym because they'll make fun of me. I'm overweight, and all the jocks in there will point at me, or they're worried that they'll be in some way ridiculed for being in there. And it's exactly the opposite. In fact, I have more respect for you if you're overweight and you're in the gym and you're not out, feeding your fat face with Cheetos or whatever. I got more respect for people who are out there running and doing and exercising, knowing that they need to get in shape, way more. But the popular conception is that they don't want to go to the gym because they're afraid that the jocks are going to not want to help them out, when it's exactly the opposite. They're the most friendly dudes that will be glad to help you. Nobody's laughing at you. Nobody's
Planet Fitness built their whole business model
brand on that
idea. And you know what sucks about that too, because I used to have a Planet Fitness membership, is you go in there
Planet
and
Fattens.
well, they have the clunk alarm, you know, like if you're slamming weights, which you
Clunk
shouldn't do
alarm.
anyway. If you're doing that, you're kind of a dick. But
You can't wear tank tops if you're a dude.
yeah, you can't wear tank tops and show off your muscles.
Baggy clothes.
But the worst thing about it is they're keeping the people that need to be there where they are. They have like Bagel Tuesdays and Pizza Fridays and shit.
I know.
It's like, what are
Donut-
you doing?
Donut
You know?
Wednesdays.
Oh, man.
Well,
So,
let's-
so you're okay at any body type? No, you're not. You are not. Stop it.
It's
Okay.
With
like
the with the
they're just
with,
feeding you the sugar so they can treat you later for diabetes.
with the jocks, and I've only had friendly interactions at the gym. I've never had a bad interaction. This is also important where you go in, you got to bust each other's balls with it at school, but then the actions is what tells you. And I think that's probably the first basic one-on-one test that a guy has is Thor said I had pencil dick. But then Thor gave me a ride to the airport. It's like, wait a minute, hang on. This Thor guy ain't, I see what he's doing there. And that's what would cement it. But without this bullshit interaction, without this kind of test of trust, what I've noticed, the consequence, if you don't have this, you're lonely. You have no friendship. You have no friends. You have no social life. Because I'll tell you this, right, and you can already see it. All right, fine. Women written off. They don't want to have anything to do with you, whatever else. The stats are more saying about half, just shy half of women are not going to get married. Half the other men. So half you guys are going to have to find some kind of social. You still need a social life. And if you can't interact with men on a healthy, and I would say instinctual, genetically programmed level where we all do the rough around game and kick each other in the nuts, you are going to end up like a lot of these guys, atomized, what's the word I'm looking for? Removed from the rest of society, on the internet, playing your video games, just not living life. And okay, fine, you wanted the girls. Forget that. You know, it's like, hey, Mav, I forget first place. I just hope we graduate. That's what you got to be aiming for now. And so for the guys out there, like, you're sad, you're lonely. I don't know if your dad ain't around. I don't know if this social media is, but you have got to learn to start. The guys, at least you could get a social relationship. At least you can have a social life with men.
That's the number one thing I encounter when I'm doing counseling with guys is they don't know, like they think that their problem is like, I don't know how to get a girlfriend. I don't know how to talk to girls. Like, oh, Rolo, teach me game. What's the best book on game? So show me how to like get me some social skills so I know how to interact with females. And then my first question is, well, do you have a tribe of guys? Do you have a network of friends? Or do you have like workout partners? Do you have guys you know at school? Is there like, I want to establish that they even know how to deal with guys now before we can even get to the part where they can actually socialize with girls. Because most of the guys that I run into don't have tribes, or they don't have networks, or they do, or they think they do because they're part of a user group on Reddit, or they're like part of some,
they got their gaming group that they play Fortnite.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They're playing like, Call of Duty or whatever, God of War. But they're the lack of social interaction, and you'll see this occasionally. You'll see like these articles about how men today don't have any close friends, right? They don't, and it's still, by the way, it's only 85% of guys still have a group of close friends, but they'll poke and prod and say, oh, well, 15% of men don't have, and that's why they're toxically masculine, and that's why they're suicidal, and it's like, no, that's the reason that they're that way is because they lack the social skills, and they have borderline, they're on the spectrum somewhere along the way. So what I see happen is this is like, when I deal with guys who say, I would never want to learn game. These guys are dating roaches. Fuck these guys. Fuck Rolo. Fuck Rich. Fuck these guys because they are telling you to interact with women. Go your own way. Black pill. Whatever. Right? Those dudes they don't have the social skills to interact in the first place. But if they see a guy who is successful with a woman or is well liked by men, who has the social skills to interact with men and women, they'll say you're a dancing monkey. It's performative. You're doing that so people will like you. You're doing that. There's no way to win in that situation because they don't have the social skills. And so therefore, if they don't, they've got to come up with some rationale as to why whatever anyone else is doing that seems to be working for them is illegitimate. It is inauthentic. There's disingenuous in some way. So no matter what you do, like when I say, women don't want to be told that they're playing a game, they want to play the game with you. There is a certain aspect of actually getting into relating with women and say, well, I would just want to have them, we should just be straight, all above board. Everything's rational. We should talk about like how we're going to do things, and that I'm clearly the best choice for them in, going forward with a boyfriend or a husband or whatever. And they're very analytical and very literal. They carry that literalism into what they expect from like a sexual marketplace or from like a society that should appreciate them, but actually doesn't. And so they misinterpret cues because they think that everybody should be just as literal as them, even when they're not. So when they see other guys playing the game better than they do, they have to some way turn it into being inauthentic. And so as a result, it's not only just you're a dancing monkey for women, you're a dancing monkey for guys too, because you have social skills that they don't have, and they've got to find some way to explain it to themselves.
Hey, Rolo, I wanted to ask you about that. I wanted to ask you about that. You talk a lot in your books about women being solipsistic, like that's, ingrained in them. Isn't that sort of men being a little solipsistic, like seeing...
In some ways, yeah. Well, yeah. I would. Okay, yeah. That's a good observation. I think women are have an innate natural proclivity, an evolved proclivity for that. But remember, we're also dealing with at least 2 generations now, like the millennial generation and Gen Z, who have been raised to be defective girls. So yeah, they adopt the mannerisms of women who are innately solipsistic. Yes, I would say so. It's a conditioned response, but I would definitely agree with that.
So, Aaron, I would think that social challenges is crucial for young men growing up. For instance, if I did call you a pencil dick, I'm sure our social interaction would be like, yeah, Thor, takes one to know one. And I'd say, yeah, you're right, Aaron, and you know them all. So you see, we have that interaction that's nice and fun. It's banter. I think that social challenges aren't really being done. Rollo, you called it bullying, right? That's a social challenge.
Bullying, hazing. Yeah. They
figuring out a dominance hierarchy.
Any kind of ribbing, any kind of like guys like being guys, like when you get that wink and that nod or something like that, or you like slap, or hey, what's up, motherfucker? Like that.
Yeah, it builds rapport.
Yeah.
It builds rapport. And I think that's really missing on the internet, because on the internet, it seems like the only fuel is sex and indignity brokering. That's it. And it's just a few short words, and definitely they take it all literally. I think that it's emotionalism that's really driving these spurts.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's something that's very important to the key of, and I have a list, and of course we never follow the list, but we'll kind of hit on them and touch on them anyway. Just right here, people say, what's the key to your success? Well, it was persistence. It was diversifying revenue streams. But the main reason I have success now is because of the network of you Hanyakers I ran into over the internet. And I'm being deadly serious, but you have to think about Hanyakers. We're going to get some gals and we're going to go meet up with the Hanyakers. So, but seriously, how you survive in life was through teams and networking, going all the way back to the tribe. If you were ostracized or banished from the church or the village, you were dead. You need a group of people to survive. More modernly, you need a group of people or a network. And I never understood that as a younger man. Like, what do you mean network? I'm a really good financial analyst. They should just hire me for me. It's not until I say, oh yeah, I got a guy
who you know.
Yeah. Well,
one of the biggest reasons to go to college, actually, in certain industries, is so you can get in to know the people in the industry. And
right.
Once they know your name and they know your face, it's easier to get the job.
Right. And what I'm saying is that sounds like more nepotistic or cronyistic, which partially true. But in having a group of friends like, I'm the town mortician. I am Balm. But then I know the town mechanic. And if I bury his mom, he'll give me some mechanic work for free. Or you just a community kind of help each other. It's the same thing with the network. Like Paul writes a book. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go read it and review it. If Rollo ever gets around to writing a book, maybe I go read that too and review it, stuff like that. But it is having that network within men that ends up helping you a lot in determining not only your social network, but also your standards of living and financial success, I'd say more modernly today. And if you can't get into a meeting which would be not allowed now, but you look and you punch you pinch the guy in his tit, like, hey, what's up, homo? Like if you, that
we did those too.
yeah, but
Wet Willie.
yeah, well, that's a little more fourth grade. But if you can't go in and you're on the golf course, like a nice set of balls, you can't do that. You're not gonna be, but that is another. You are not going to form these networks, and your life is you're not an army of one sitting there playing Fortnite, living at home in your mom's base. You got to get out and form a group, a team, belong to different networks of groups and teams, and it starts by being you got to drop this Spurg and Audis bullshit.
Yeah,
one thing
accepting
team versus team.
They need to accept that they don't know anything. Like. There's a certain point in your life where you have to understand that the more knowledge you get, the more you realize you don't know shit. It's like every question you have answered, 8 more questions pop up. And a lot of guys just don't want to be told anything. They think they know everything already. And they're gonna stand on the hill and fight and die because they don't want to be wrong.
One thing I wanted to say is sometimes it's not all about Spurgs and guys who are just being antisocial. There's a lot of guys, and I was one of these guys, where when I was married, I didn't have a good, strong group of friends. I had, my coworkers that I worked with, I considered them friends, but I never hung out with them after work. I was the kind of guy that I would go to work, I'd go home, right? That's it. I wasn't out with the boys on like bowling night on Thursday. There's a lot of guys like that where they don't have real friends. They have their wives, friends, husbands that they hang out with, but they're not friends. You know what I mean? And so a lot of those guys, and I was one of those guys, those guys don't have a good, solid group of friends. And then they dump all their baggage on their woman and, she's his best friend and stuff like that. It's a completely unhealthy dynamic. It took me a while to learn that after my divorce, that men absolutely do need to have a good solid group of friends outside of their relationship that they could go to with their problems and stuff. So they're not dumping their baggage on their woman,
Yeah, you need a tribe is what you need. That's exactly. I mean, we call it networks. We call my bros at Bible study, my bros at freaking, my gym partners or whatever like that. We don't see that those are actually like, sub tribes, like many. Your first tribe is your family, but those like the people that you hang out with the most, they end up because human beings are tribalistic, and that's a feature, not a bug when it comes to human nature. But the problem is we become so isolated. I think we tend to look at like the internet as being this great big extroversion when in fact it's very much an introversion. So I can go on my show on Sunday and like play to like 4,100 live views last Sunday, and then turn off everything in this studio right now. It's me and Ned. That's it. Like, oh, there's 4,100 people right now. It's like I can remember like playing to crowd when I was back in my day, when in my rock star 20s. I can remember thinking like 1,000 people was a big crowd, and then you played to 3,000 people and it's a bigger crowd. But I can talk to 4,100 people on this medium, turn everything off and walk out of here and just go chill chill downstairs at the dinner table kind of thing. And I think we tend to look at the internet as this really big, like sort of worldwide extroversion, when in fact it's very isolating more than anything else. And you don't get unless you're like talking like we are right now, you don't hear the intonation of my voice in a tweet. You don't see my facial expressions. You don't know what Aaron was saying before. It's like there's certain things we kind of give the nod or whatever, wink. Like I'm bullshitting. It's a wink. Like the kids today would never be able to pick up on that. Like, what was that about? Why is he doing that? And I'll tell you what's interesting to me is they don't get social cues because they don't have they don't have the social learning that like the live in real time social learning that is necessary to develop those things. Yet if Andrew Tate is walking out like this and he does the steeple, or which I happen to do quite a bit, or if I have my hands in a weird way that to me is just comfortable on Fresh and Fit, people think I'm part of like some Masonic hand signal, or like they'll read so much shit into it. Or numerologists will say, oh, he showed up on this date because it was important because it's, the number 7 and the number 9 are in ascension and Venus is aligned.
Moloch told us.
Like they're very analytical. to the extreme on some things, and then they completely miss the boat on other things because they just simply have never developed those skills. That's why when I was writing Paul, when I was writing the 5th book, Player's Handbook, I had to, in the very first chapters, when I was describing what game is, I had to break it down because people think it's like a bunch of like scripts or it's a bunch of pickup lines. Ooh, that's not what it is. It's teaching social skills right now. The reason every guy that hits us up for personal counseling, they want social skills. The guys who go and follow Mike Sartain in Men of Action, they want social skills that they didn't learn growing up from like 5 years old to 25, wherever they are right now.
That's the key. Absolutely, Rollo. 100%.
We're teaching. A game is not like pickup artistry anymore. It's simple fucking basic social skills. And I joke around with Aaron all the time. It's like common sense is so rare right now that schmucks like me and him can like market it because nobody knows what the fuck we're talking about.
And I thank all the single moms for this lifelong employment they have given me. I appreciate you all for keep spreading your legs. You don't need no man fish bicycle.
You know, Rollo, you're talking about social skills. Actually, I have a guy in my Patreon that he's not coming to me to learn to get better with women. He wants to build a social circle of guy friends. And he grew up in a very rural area and has never gone out and, learned to just chat people up and stuff like that. So that's the stuff I'm working with him on is, hey, I want you to go to a bookstore like 3 times a week and just ask people, hey, I'm looking for some books to read, and what do you recommend, and just start chatting people up. And so he's been practicing on that every day or every week, like 3 times a week and stuff like that. He's getting a lot better. But yeah, you're absolutely right. People come to us because they just don't know how to talk to people in real life. One thing I will say is, you might have your online groups, your online communities, your Reddit stuff, that stuff's great too. But what you should try to do is find people in your local area in that group and meet up with them if you can. I've done that because I live out in the middle of nowhere. So I have a good group of internet friends in like a Facebook community that I'm in. But if I'm in their area, I'll say, hey, I'm going to be out in San Diego. Does anybody want to meet up for drinks or whatever? I'll meet them in person.
Yeah.
You guys should be doing that too.
Oh, absolutely. Rollo, you were kind of surprised, and so was I. MLD picked up on it too. The younger crowd, their social acuity is so low that just basic body language was missing many of these guys that consult with me today. They don't pick up on it at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's some perfect examples here in the chat right now. It's like, oh, I saw Rollo on some show with some dumb bitches on there, so I didn't watch. I'm like, dude, do you know? I hate to drop this on you. Do you know who I am? Do you know how many books I have? Do you know how long I've been doing this shit? Do you realize I have a 5-hour podcast now? Do you realize I do other things than just like show up for Access Vegas and put a bunch of big titty, jet screaming hootie?
Did you write a book by chance or something?
Yeah, a few of those. I don't know. Well, that's on you, bro, not on me. So whatever. But it's that little. It's literalism combined with too long didn't read. It's this basic like
everything all the answers now.
This mathematical equation and has to work out. And if you don't have that, this has always been real frustrating to me. Is like if you don't have the magic pill, if you present yourself as an influencer in any way in this space, and you don't have some magic formula that helps them go from like fucking 0 to hero immediately within or 2 weeks, whatever, if you don't have something that is a proven fucking methodology, step by step, that's why step by step always gets play. If you don't have that and it doesn't work for them, then you're a fraud. That's basically the mentality right now.
One thing that these guys also don't realize is that they still need to do the work. If they get a coach, like a coach isn't going to wave a magic fucking wand and make you all of a sudden a pimp out there. Like they're going to give you some tools. You need to go out there and implement it. Like you still have to go do it. That's one thing that a lot of guys don't understand. They're like, well, if I just pay the fee, all of a sudden I'll be a player.
Paul and Rollo, you guys nailed it. And I think this is one of the underlying things. I don't think any of these people, I sense bullshit when like, oh, I got autism, I got Asperger's, I got social anxiety. No, motherfucker, you're a lazy sack of shit. Yes, you may not have had a dad. Yes, you may have come from a broken family, but let's also not forget you're a lazy motherfucking piece of shit. And to kind of point out the obligation and tie this into like, look, you still have an obligation to be men, if for any reason for yourself. Because the whole point of developing social skills, what we're talking about, is so that you have a life, so that you can actually go and be social. All right. And you guys are 100% right. Unless it is served up to them on a silver platter. I think one of the most dark observations Modern Life John pointed to me was like, how many people sign up for his course, pay for the course, but then don't even take the course. His courses aren't cheap. They don't even open it. And his courses
so
are
there's
not
a percentage
cheap.
of guys who don't even open it.
Yep.
Right. But so here's just for those of you who claim you can't do anything and unless it's not worth it and fine, you're not going to develop your social skills and you think taking a course and paying for a course and not taking it. If you don't develop social skills to have a social life, what is the point and purpose of your life? And the whole point and purpose of your life, as far as I can tell, is you were just this neat sitting on the internet living a vicarious synthetic digital life, which is no life at all. And then you've completely pissed it away. And even more dark than that, like I believe humans cannot run without an operating system. You need a purpose and reason to live. And where it becomes particularly dangerous because you're just too lazy to go out and develop some social cue or skills, interact with the rest of society, get a social life, have a purpose, live. There are some nefarious, evil motherfucking entities out there that are more than happy to give you purpose and meaning in life. And so you get people like Vaush, like just this fat, spoiled little bitch with mom and dad's money shoved up his bunghole. And I'm specifically talking about ideologies that fall under the domain of parasitism. I won't even call it socialism. That's one of them. But you're entitled to live off of other people's money. You're oppressed. You're a victim. It's those evil, bad people. Literally cartoon villains. And then, then you get into traitism. Ooh, you're a woman? Oh my God, it's the most amazing thing ever. And you're brave and da-da-da-da-da. Oh, you're Hispanic? Why, you're just amazing and great. And I'm not saying this. I'm saying quite the opposite, where it's like, you are a moron for celebrating how you were born because it cost you your life. There is so much more you could do as any type of individual out there by going and living life. And that's where I'm giving you guys not the panel, but I'm giving all these artists, these self-pitying navel gazers, the boo-hoo-hoo, I can't do anything because I was born a certain way or not. It's like, look, you could go ahead and keep doing that. You could be lazy and find your value in these horrifically toxic life philosophies or ideologies or operating systems, and you'll waste your life. There will have no point in you being alive. But for those of you who are sick and tired of being virgins and virgin towels and not legitimately diagnosed with autism or Asperger's, but because you're such a worthless sack of shit that I got autism. And it's like, no, you don't. You're just a spoiled kid from the burbs whose mom was banging Kevin in sales behind your dad's back. All right. You can have a better life than that. So it's a choice. It really is a choice. You can participate in society for all of its flaws, all of its drawbacks. Fine. Women are not, they're not on the table. But do you want to go play ball? Do you want to join, look at us motley crew here. We're, I think, wasn't there one show where we had a topic and I think 75% of it was us just busting each other's balls. I think maybe we got to the topic. Like, okay, do you want this? Because it's better than what you got now. Getting level 42 on Fortnite with gold clusters and the super sword. Like, what do you want?
Ready Player One wasn't supposed to be a documentary,
Exactly.
So I get you, Aaron, I agree 100% with you. But I'm gonna play Spurgtow advocate. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's why would I bother with anything you have to say? You're not the boss of me. I'll tell you what's funny is like whenever you start talking about like dating, you start talking about women. I would never date any of those girls on Access Vegas. I have too much respect for myself. And it's like, of course it's, sour grapes, low hanging fruit, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's all BS. But you got to remember that the same mentality that says the juice is not worth the squeeze isn't just for chicks. It's for life. Yep. It's for everything else too, right? It's like, why would I want to do that? I don't want to be a wage slave. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to go and I don't want to go and get a STEM degree because I want to be any better. I just didn't want, I just want to be me. I just want to do what I want to do, right? So what's the incentive at this point? Like, how do you speak to that mentality, whether it's about women or it's about life in general? It's get your fat ass in the gym.
Those people are the ones that are just going to, die off. They're not going to reproduce. They're going to die off.
Insecure.
They're never going to amount to anything.
All right, Rolo, let me counter your.
Remember, they're still voters, and they barely get by, right? And so, where's the incentive?
Well, let me out Spurgtow Rolo Spurgtow. Okay, you ready? You really ready down? We're gonna go deep here. Okay.
Don't get no holes, man.
Because of pain and misery. And we're starting to, through Overton's window or societal migration, however you want to put it, we're starting to get to the point where already, I hate to sound so black and white, but leftists and Democrats and activist types whose entire value system was caught up in a left-leaning ism, they're all miserable. I'm not kidding. It's like, well, the rest of your life is going to be misery. We are now starting to move to the further extreme where little girls, well, not little girls, but teen girls and some teen boys are starting to cut off their genitalia because it'll make them popular. They're starting to claim they're different just so they can be special, just so they can avoid work, just so they can avoid interacting with the rest of society in a normal functioning capacity and manner, which also obligates them. Again, men are obligated to participate in society. You must bring something of value to society. And so now, not only are we just saying, well, I was born female. Now we're starting to choose different things that we may or may not be. Oh, I'm lesbian, or I'm all the 41 flavors of different sexuality. Going to the point now, I need drugs to be hormone blockers. I need to cut off my tits because I think today, Daddy, I'm a Dragon Warrior princess, but today, no, I'm a guy. And if you want to talk about why you should not go down that path, or definitely reevaluate it and try what we're recommending first, if you start mutilating your body, I mean, it could be something as innocuous as a tattoo or a piercing, going all the way to cutting off your genitalia. All right. There is drastic consequences, not so much the tattoos, but there's drastic consequences for living a lie and trying to get some value out of life without any work and without relying or participating in the rest of society. These people, the simple question, do you want to be 1, miserable, 2, mentally ill, and 3, borderline suicidal for the rest of your life? That pain should at least prompt you to consider making a considerate effort into becoming a normal participating member of society. And especially because, again, I'm literally writing off women, but for you boys, all right, there's not as many men, boys, should say, that are looking at the gender reassignment surgery or other such extreme measures to gain purpose and value. But this throw your hands up in the air. Look, do you actually think, I'll give you here, they'll do some more name dropping. This guy has it. This guy's very popular. Do you want to be the amazing atheist? Do you want to be that guy? Do you want to be that guy? Or I don't know, would you like to be Thor? 60 years old, kicking ass, lifting weights, building his kids a literal tank. I mean, really, who would you rather? Just give it a shot, man. So that would be the only thing, is because if you go down the Spurgtow, hopelessness, defeatism, blah, 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 you literally might as well not be living. I'm not saying self-deletion. I'm saying you're not living life, and you're just going to exist in pain. And so that'd be my counter argument to that.
Yeah, and of course, their kind of argument will be you're trying to use moralistic obligation. I think probably the reason you got so many Spurgs in the chat right now is because you use the word obligated. You're obligated. Are guys, even the question, right? Even asking that question, are men still obligated to be men? Well, first of all, they're going to go, well, what's a man? I don't know what masculinity. First of all, they're confused about masculinity or what it means to be a man anyways. And the other thing is that whenever you mention obligation, you bring in sort of this tradcon narrative where it's like, well, men need to man up and here's the requirements and you need to be this and this and this and this. I tried. God damn it. I tried to riff on that Vice debate, such as it was, with all the guys that were on the panel. And there's this one guy who's the transgender guy, and there's the one homosexual guy, and there's one guy who's got the big, a 10-gallon Texas hat, who's the evangelical Christian. And these guys are supposed to be this cross section of men who represent masculinity, and not a goddamn one of them had any idea what it meant to be, what manhood was, what masculinity was. They could not come up with a conventional definition of what masculinity actually was. So when you say, are they obligated to be a man? The first thing that comes out of their man is, well, what's a man? Because they don't know. It's either confusing to them or they hate it. And I would say even the guys who follow this space, they hate being a dude. To some degree, they hate being a guy. They hate the idea that they don't understand what masculinity is. So when you or Matt Walsh or anybody from the Daily Wire, or even guys who are like on the opposite side, like the pickup artist community, tell them they ought to do this, they bristle at that. Because they don't want you to tell them how they ought to be as far as like what manhood should entail or what the definition is. Because usually, and they're correct in this, usually that's an ideological perspective rather than a conventional nuts and bolts, red pill, praxeological, empirical definition of what it means to be a guy. Are you living up to this? Should you have some sort of obligation to live up to it in the first place? Or do you even know what the fuck you're talking about? So like when I see like something like a movie like a Whiplash, right, where people like when that movie came out, that movie, by the way, is not about like some kid who wants to be the best jazz drummer in the world, and he has like a really kind of overbearing, abusive teacher, Mr. Fitch, that tries to like hammer him. It's about fucking discipline. It's about like a guy from the old days who wants to get the very best out of his student, and to the point where it seems abusive, very abusive right now. It seems like hazing. It seems like bullying. But at the end of the movie, you say, I want the fucking best out of you. And that's what it takes to get it out of you. This generation, the last generation, like millennials and Gen Z, they see that as hazing. They see that as abuse. And so when you have something like that, where like that kind of like investment in somebody to the point where it's like, I'm not trying to fucking hurt you, I'm trying to get the best out of you, that seems like ideology. Or Walsh saying, hey, let's all come back onto the plantation, guys, and you all need to get married, and you all need to have 3.5 kids and a golden retriever in the fucking front yard, and you need to go to church on Sundays. That's ideology. They don't have anything to do with that. And they sure as shit don't want to have anything to do with like the wokesy ideology. So they're just kind of just sitting there floundering, hoping that they're sheep in search of a shepherd. So that's why Andrew Tate comes along and they follow that, or Matt Walsh comes around and they follow that. It's like whatever sounds like close to what they think should be ideal, they'll follow that.
Let me get Thor's opinion on here, because Fitch and Paul, you guys have kids, but they're still yet kids. Thor, you've raised successfully young men, and now you're a grandfather. Because you've gone through that, what do you think? How did you raise your boys? What obligations did you make sure they had to themselves and society? Not necessarily to be men, but what obligations did you instill in them?
Self-responsibility. If they need a helping hand, look at the end of their wrist. You try to give them some sense of self-sufficiency, but also social challenges. They need social challenges. I was fortunate enough to have 3 boys, so I had my own team right there. Definitely they're going to have their challenges. Bullying is a big part of growing up, and the way you counsel the kids on that, it's very important. They have to understand life is competition. It's a struggle. They have to back off, take a breath, look around, leverage their friends. There's that. And the fact that they had a lot of role models. They had heroes in their life. We had actual movie heroes that they could look up to and want to be like, that showed success, or they showed stoicism. What were the advantages of stoicism? You could still have emotion, but you're able to express passions and compassions at the right moment to get things done socially. So those are the kind of things that you would work with your boys on in the family environment. And
that's something I've noticed with my kids is there's no like one like male role model type thing. There's no like male, like I want that toy. I want this guy. I want the Rock's thing because the Rock was awesome in this movie. Like that's not something my boys have ever really expressed. Like they like themes of shows and stuff, but it's never like, oh, that that one guy. We had like Arnold Schwarzenegger, we had Bloodsport, and we had those movies where we're like, those things. I had the Lion-O, little action figure, and all those, I knew their names, I knew everybody's names, like this is this guy and this that stuff. But like the kids, like they do a little Pokemon stuff, but like there's no real, I can't think of them ever being like, oh, that's what's his name, I want to be like that guy. Not even with like sports.
One thing that I've done with my son, that sort of goes hand in hand with what John said, is my son's the same way. My son, there's no, he might enjoy, like a Fast and Furious and stuff like that. But one time I took him to go see, it was in one of the Mission Impossible movies. I think it was the latest one, it was like nonstop action from start to finish. And I look over at my son in the theater, and he's just looking up at the ceiling, bored out of his mind. Like the stuff that he likes is watching people on YouTube play video games and stuff. Yep. And so when he was little, he would also watch other dumb kids' YouTube channels where they're doing challenges or reviewing, giant gummy worms or whatever. And I sat there with him one day watching this nonsense. I go, dude, you could do this. You could make these. And he's like, really? I could be a YouTuber? And so we went on a project for maybe about 2 years where we ran a YouTube channel for him. And we, each week that he would come over to my house, we would come up with an idea and we would make our own YouTube videos. And Dad would, I would record them and edit them for him. But then as he got older, I was like, you need to learn how to do this. Like, if you want to keep this channel going, you need to learn how to edit. Handed him the reins and stuff like that. But I was trying to show him that, you don't just sit here and be an observer of these guys that are making millions of dollars doing dumb shit online. You could be that guy that makes $1 million doing dumb shit online,
That's really important, Paul, because I have a very similar experience. I'm just barely old enough to have watched Star Trek in its first repeat, and my dad would get me and would allow me to stay up and watch James T. Kirk, and that was the big hero of the day. I've heard Rollo mention this before. Exuded a lot of masculine leadership in all of his relationships. And one of the things is back then they didn't have really good toys. So my dad helped me use wood, and I created my own phasers and lightsabers. And, he really got involved, and that showed me how to mechanically make things. And from there, I was able to make money by leveraging it into skills and things like that. So that's one thing that goes back to Cappy's. I taught them not only social skills, but mechanical skills, observation skills. And I also spent a lot of time with them about money. They all had jobs early. So they all had discipline to earn money. It started with me, and then I got them jobs or part-time jobs, and they all worked that way. They all paid for their own vehicles, all that sort of thing.
Every year, just real quick, every year on my son's birthday, since he was 3, I tell them to get a job.
All three of you, though, Thor, because your kids are older, obviously, and Paul and John's kids are still kids. But all of you, if we boiled it down, really, you got these Spurgs in your audience, and as well as mine, we probably had this.
I love them. I love every one of you. Please keep coming.
Oh, Dennis Sperger, don't you tell me what to do. Oh, conservative TradCon, you don't tell me what to do to be obligated. I think this is the only obligation you have as a man to society, and that is to not parasite off of it. Notice Thor and John and Paul are not raising their kids to be independent and require you all go to church. John is not raising his, I think, Paul, you especially, you're not raising your children like, oh yeah, go get married. I think we're not telling you to do. All we're asking you to do is stop being parasites. Get off the goddamn stimmy checks. Get off the damn welfare. Get off the EBT. Stop bitching and whining like a little whiny girl that you need a student loan ballot. That is the only and here's where, of course,
the consequences and results of your decisions.
Right. Here's where I know the laziness is going to be more powerful than their honesty, their honor, and their morals. All right. All we're asking you to do is stop enslaving other people to pay for you. And that's what you are. You're thieves, you're slave owners, and you're parasites. That's not pejorative. That's not me being mean. I am describing what you are. You're goddamn leeches living off of either your parents or the government or whatever else.
Yeah.
And the only thing, and trust me, you're going to feel, do you guys know anyone who's happy living on welfare? Like they got everything paid for. Do those single moms walking out of Cabrini Green look happy to you? Do these guys like who said, I got level 46 with extra jizz power on the game I play. Mom, order me the chicken tendies. Do you think any of these people look happy? No. And all I'm saying, you don't have to do it forever, but just try to support yourself, because I have every moral right not to pay for your living. That's it. That's all we're asking. After that, it's quite libertarian. I don't know. You're gay. Go be gay. You like Pokemon trading cards. Go get your Pokemon trading cards. Yep. Go live the life that you want to live. All I'm saying for the boys out there who are young and unmotivated, and why? And I don't have to. Don't you tell me what to do. Fine. I don't care what you do. Just get a freaking job. That's it.
Where's pride? Where's pride? Where has pride gone? I mean, we've made pride a bad thing.
Thor, when you bring up words like pride, that ends up becoming a moral statement. It becomes a judgment statement at that point. And everything that Aaron's just saying right here is like, and I agree with 100%. Like, people get on my case when I say, I don't want you to repeal the 19th. I don't think we should repeal the 19th. What I want, I don't care if as a woman, you want to go and be an astronaut or a surgeon or whatever the fuck it is that you want to do. But you have to understand that there are sacrifices for the decisions that you make. Men have had to deal with this. And if you want to be in a male space, if you want to pretend to be a guy and you still want the benefits and privileges of also being a woman, you have to make a decision between those two, because guys have to make those decisions all the time, because they have to pay for the sacrifices and the decisions that they make in their lives. That's the problem that I don't want to take away women's rights. I want them to be held accountable for the decisions and the results of those decisions, and not palm it off on, it's the patriarchy. It's this horrible, evil, cabal of baby eating, Jeffrey Epstein Island, Moloch worshiping, Illuminati or something. Like, palm it off on something else. It's always out. Your decisions and the results that you have to pay for. It's always outside of yourself, right? We see this in women, but guys who are like become part of this sphere don't want to accept the fact that they're also just like that. It's just in a different context. So like when Aaron's talking about your obligations, such and such, I'm not going to say you have necessarily obligations. What you do, though, is you're going to have to deal with the consequences and the liabilities and the responsibilities and everything that comes along with the decisions that you're making. So if you don't want to do jack shit and all you want to do is jerk off and play Roblox all fucking day, go right ahead. Please do. Just don't come to me and say, that's so unfair. These guys are dating roaches. Fuck these guys for trying to help people out, right? If you like, people tell me this all the time. The red pill is really long on explanations, but they don't have any solution. Fuck you. Because the moment I say, okay, here's a 12 steps for life from Rollo Tomasi. Here, follow my life plan and you'll do okay too. The minute I start doing that, that's ideology. That's a judgment call. That's any solution I can give you. You can either take it or leave it. So when you got a guy like a Jocko Willink, oh man, he's great. I love that guy. David Goggins, yeah, I love that guy. Fuck yeah. Name the success porn guru, Tony Robbins, whoever the fuck it is, like Patrick Bet-David. These guys are millionaires. I look up to them. Great. That's because that shepherd, you're a sheep. And that shepherd happens to speak your fucking language. They're giving you a solution. Now, if I go and say, well, they're full of shit because of X, Y, and Z, then I become the enemy after that. I don't give solutions because you have to come up with your own fucking solutions anyways. And any solution I could give you, it's going to sound like I'm trying to get you back on the plantation. It's going to sound like I'm trying to sell you a fucking product. It's going to sound like I'm trying to give you 12 rules for this or buy my fucking book. The minute I give you that solution is when you start going, oh, it's an ideology. And you'd be right. It would be an ideology. I don't fucking deal in shoulds or I deal in what is, not what should be. You have to have your own, save your fucking stuff. I love this, man. You guys have heard this a million times when you listen to somebody like, and not to put them on blast, but like Justin Waller or some of these guys like from like Hustlers University or something. They'll go, no one's coming to save you. That will be their main thing. No one's coming to save you. You got a man of bootstraps. You got to be fucking responsible for yourself. And no one's going to save you but you. Except for join our Hustlers University or Liminal fucking order. Those dudes will be here. We got your back and we'll save you. What the fuck is that? All that to me is this fucking marketeering. You're okay with that, but I don't give you fucking solutions. These guys don't give you fucking solutions. No, we do. We just give you the tools so you can have your own fucking solution so you can be your own fucking man. Is that not?
That's why I like this group.
Some guy who's got a book of 12 rules for life. Is that not better?
It's like the guys that talk about how we need to hold women accountable. It's like, hold yourself accountable, man.
Hold yourself accountable.
Stop pointing
exactly.
fucking fingers. You got the 3 fingers pointing back at you, like they used to say in elementary school.
People say, "Oh, the 99 rules are prescriptions." No, they're fucking not.
No.
Do you think that the 48 laws of power are prescriptions? No, they're laws. They are explaining dynamics. That's what the 99 rules are. It's not like follow these 99 rules and you'll be a Tomasi guy. You'll be a top R or whatever the fuck, No, the 48 laws of power or the 33 strategies of war. Those aren't follow these. They're not like an instruction fucking manual, dude. That's the difference.
Observable behaviors.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's why I like this group, because all we do here is talk about the tools that you can use, the tools you should have, what the tools do. And when we give you the tools, you're allowed to build whatever future you want for yourself.
Yes.
You want to be married with 6 kids? Awesome. Great. Here's the tools to help you do that. You want to be in your 60s and still jet setting around the world and sleeping with beautiful women everywhere? Okay, great. Here are the tools that you need to make that happen, but you have to do all the work to make it happen.
A lot of us too we're talking about what worked for us. Like this worked for me. It's almost like a suggestion. If that resonates with you, try it out.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, dismiss it, find someone else. Like that's what it comes down to. You have to do what's best for you.
Miserable. Everything's terrible, and I'm just going to be miserable, and this is how I'm staying. Huh. That's your answer. There's some people in the chat here now that are just like shitting on everything. It's like, why are you even alive? What's the point?
Yeah. Don't take my misery from me, John.
You don't want to make any changes. You don't want to do anything that worked for anybody else. You're just a miserable person, and you just want to spread shit everywhere. Blah, blah, blah. Everything's pointless.
Hey, John, this is a good question for the panel, because I don't think I've ever asked you guys. Did you ever give your dad shit? I don't know what your relationship was like with your dad, but
I still do.
Did your dad ever say, "What are you going to do with your life?" or "Get the fuck up and do something productive"? Like, did you ever push back against that? Did you go, "Hey man, don't, you're not the boss of me. Fuck you"? Were you like rebellious with your dad, or did you have a better relationship and you took what he said to heart?
I had a good childhood. I had a good relationship with my parents. I didn't push back, or I was rebellious in my own ways. I went to Catholic school, and I was the Satan at the Catholic school. But like things I was doing was nothing. It was just regular kid stuff. Yeah. But I had more of a rebelling against society attitude than I did against my parents. My parents were always there for me, so like it's not like I had anything to cut them down with.
Aaron, did you ever try to make your dad proud or something like that? Or was it like
I would be a bad example, because my dad was a pastor and an incredibly occult version of Christianity. So I was going to burn in hell at 3 years old if I didn't believe with the pedophile with the robes looking guy in the sky. So I had to have a showdown with my dad when I was 16. But we're a broken family, and so it didn't. But over time, where my dad got proud, but he can't admit it because of his Christian upbringing. And he's very adherent. He's an honest Christian, so he can't condone some things that I do. But when I basically supported myself the day I left home at 18 and never asked for any money, then I think that kind of did. And then it's hilarious, Rollo. He can't, SL Consulting, as a pastor, you can't. Well, it's cursing and swearing about, but then he's like, "I was telling my buddy about you," and then, he said that's funny, and it's like, okay, so he's proud, but he can't say he's proud. But this is after I achieved as a middle-aged, not so middle-aged man. But I wouldn't. I mean, we kind of stood up, not want to go to bed times, but I'd be a bad example of that.
For me, I always had a real healthy respect for my dad. But he also raised me growing up to want to be better than him, right? He wanted me to do better than he did. And a lot of that was, my dad was kind of a lazy guy. He went to college for a year, decided he didn't want to do that, dropped out, went into computers for a while, made a good living. And then got laid off from that and then was out of work for several years and then decided to just go be like a custodian in schools. And I remember when like my grades were bad one time and he went into his closet, pulled out his custodian uniform. And he says, if you don't get your grades up, I'm going to make you wear this to school every day because this is all you're ever going to be. Right. So my dad was hard on me, but in a good way. And then there was times where when it wasn't serious, we would sort of rib on each other. So we have a pretty good, healthy respect for each other now. Like now that we're older and, I'm my own man now, there's times where I will sort of, put my dad in his place, right? Like my dad, I got divorced, I think it was 8 years ago now. And he still isn't over that. Like it hit him harder than it hit me, I'm happy that divorce happens, but every once in a while he'll talk shit about my ex-wife. And it's not like I like my ex-wife, but it's like, it's unnecessary for him to bring the stuff up randomly. And so he did something like coming around for Thanksgiving and he asked some kind of snide remark. And I go, I'm like, Dad, I've been over this for 8 years. You should consider doing that too,
Get over it.
But yeah, I mean, that was how the dynamic was with my dad.
So I did not have that kind of rebellious. I mean, I'm sure I had some frustrations for my dad, but he essentially was the embodiment of James T. Kirk and Odin. And he really inspired me in a lot of ways. We were pretty close as a kid growing up. I mean, he inspired me to graduate high school at 16 and join him in his business of electrical motor control and start earning money. I mean, we were pretty tight until he got a divorce years later. It seemed like when he got that divorce, he went real blue pill and became Mr. Too Nice a Guy. And it changed a little bit of him from his earlier view. But really, I'm sure I frustrated the hell out of him, but he took me to my first rock and roll concert at 14 to ZZ Top Roller.
Yeah, at least you had a cool dad.
Good, it was good. Well, I mean, there was pot everywhere. He's like, "Oh, kid, I don't want you to smoke pot, but this is pretty cool." The tush, and I heard it was good.
Thor, real quick, how old were you at that time? You said 15?
Yeah, let's see, 70. What was it? 77 or 78?
Okay, so how long was your beard? 6 inches? 5? How big of a beard did you have at 15?
Honest to God, I at 18, I was still 5'8" with barely a beard, and by the time I was 20, I was 5'11" with a full beard. It hit me fast. Hit me really fast.
The reason I bring that up is because we always talk about how that the vast majority of guys today, the reason why they're all pussified or they don't have a definition of, like, it's either a very subjective definition of masculinity or they're just fucking confused, is because they have weak fathers or there's not enough fathers in them. There's too many single mothers. There's not enough masculine influence. And of course you can enumerate all of the freaking reasons why that is. But the thing is like when I come on here and when I've made this point on this show as well, is that we end up being the teachers. We end up being sort of the fathers, the dads they never had, right? Jordan Peterson is the dad they never had. That's why he's got such a following amongst the Lost Boys generation, right? And I think that if that's the case, if we're going to make that as sort of like and God forbid we use an analogy, right? But if we're going to make that kind of like the observation here, what I would argue is that a lot of the guys who have a problem with this space are like children, or like sons who are rebelling against their dads. Yeah. Because they think, you're not the boss of me. Fuck you. I'm not trying to make you proud, Dad. I'm going to be my own person. Fuck you. Bye. Like I'm leaving the house. Pastor dad. and so I think there's like probably this like a greater kind of gestalt group of guys who see not just us. It could be Peterson. It could be, Jocko Willnick. I'm just throwing out names here. It could be any of these guys that they look up to as sort of like their sheep looking for a shepherd. They're looking for the dad they never had. There's also going to be that point where dad's going to say, sack up and do something. And they're either going to accept that message or that prescription, or they're going to rebel against it. I think a lot of the times it's easier to give guys like us shit than it is to go and give a guy like Jordan Peterson shit, because he's probably got, a million Lost Boys who are ready to back him up. Speaking of a guy who gives shit to conservatives these days.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. I had to
Wait
go
a
to the
minute.
hospital. I had a terminal case of being jealous of Matt Walsh and Andrew Tate.
Oh my God. You know what, dude? This is for you.
The champ is here.
Yes.
The champ is here.
John's been dethroned. After this week. Yeah, sorry. I got to give that one to you.
Yeah. Hey guys, sorry I was late. Had to take the puppers to the vet. It was some emergency stuff, but it's all good now. Are we on about the whammon?
No, this was all your Ryan. You're
About the grad cons. Go.
Ryan, hang on. Let me ask Ryan a couple questions. Ryan, do you have any socially awkward people in your social media?
I actively vet against it, but you can't get 100%.
This was your topic, man. I wanted to know, like, because you'll go after them. You'll go after them.
Yeah, honestly, that was just I was literally taking a deuce, and I'm like, yeah, and it blew up. And I didn't even know until one of you guys told me. Everybody's all like, "Dude, you're in such trouble." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I saw it, and I think people think that I'm just like being angry for the sake of it, but no, there's some thought behind it. It's like nobody understood. Like, look, those are your kids. It's supposed to be like a private, a special thing. Social media, yeah, I get it, they're infants, but ask yourself, why is a professional conservative brand out here showing off his kids for you? Like, what emotional resonance are you supposed to have when Pepsi or Coke is
from the
showing them off,
manosphere
right?
named Ryan Stone tweeted,
That's the part that hurts, by the way.
showing off the
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Ryan.
He called me the manosphere. I'm like so angry.
Ryan Stone, the
But
man.
you know what I mean? So like
Stone
he's
is the
using
manosphere.
his kids as brand identity props. That's no different than a Twitch streamer showing off her titties to get a tier 3 subscription from some poor incel out there.
So choose
What
your
is the
flavor.
incel?
You want a picture of a butthole or a picture of somebody's kids?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I like use whatever words you want. You can find it tasteless, hypocritical. I don't really care. My point is, as an audience member, you should understand why Hulk Hogan is screaming at the Ultimate Warrior. And it's not because he loves his kids, which he may or may not, but it's because as a brand, he's made the decision that you need to know he loves his kids so it can resonate with you and your wish to have a Norman Rockwell fantasy. Nobody liked hearing that at all.
Shall we play this here? So
It's all of
I'm
like
not sure. I haven't watched it yet.
It's
so
not-
I'm curious.
I have no idea what's going on, but here we go.
It's super short.
trophies for clout. F trophies like the F word, trophies. That's what I was, so the babies are trophies that I'm showing off for clout. He then went on a multi-tweet tirade complaining about men who take pictures with their own children.
Tirade.
It's not manly, apparently. To love your kids is not, and be proud of them is not manly. It's perhaps not a surprise that a picture of a proud father would be so upsetting to the sort of man who clearly never had one.
Oh,
Now,
burn!
all of this reached its apotheosis a few days ago.
All right, that's enough.
I mean, my
would keep
dad
my
died
little
when I was
kids off the
18,
internet.
but I technically had 2 if you really think about it. But I appreciate that. I'll make fun of his dead dad too. It's fun. I gotta go.
I'm sorry.
What a dick.
Matt Walsh doesn't like me.
Well, let's get
I
back on
noticed he didn't
topic.
actually
Because
critique. Do you notice he didn't say anything about what I had said was wrong? He just repeated what I said with an accusatory tone.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
like, what's his actual problem with what I said?
this entire show has been about Spurgs on the internet. I mean, this was
Not
your
long
time to
enough.
shine, but but
It's
let's
not
get
long
back to
enough, man.
Rolo's point where they're going to rebel against any kind of father figure, as it's, I guess, genetically ingrained in them. That's not what they want to hear. But my point to that is, these, am I my brother's keeper? These aren't my children. These aren't about the only thing I could say, because, look, I think we all fell into this. We didn't think, I'm going to help save the young people of the West and the young boys of the West. We're like, hey, this is all bullshit. I'm pointing it out. And then people gravitated towards it. We don't care if you follow our advice or not. We really don't. I mean, I'd like you to. I'd have a vested interest, but if you're going to keep on ignoring Thor's recommendation, you become a lineman, or John Fisher's recommendation that you go and learn to fight, or Rolo's recommendation that you understand the underlying psychological dynamics between men and women, or any one of these guys that have given, okay, fine. And I think that's what we've been trying to point out. It's in your best interest to have these obligations to, at minimum, yourself and then by consequence, the rest of society. But if you want to sit and, snort, what's the antidepressants? Xanax? What do the kids use? Adderall? You do
Adderall would be the opposite of that, but yeah.
Whatever your sad life is, that you're on antidepressants or Adderall or Ritalin, or you drink, or you stay at home and it's your life, man. You go ahead and do with it. All right. But, just don't come to me and like, well, don't you tell me what to do. I'm like, no, I recommend it. It's up to you whether you follow it or not.
Yeah. I get the, you probably heard this message before. Like if it makes them happy, then why does that bother you? Like it's on you because you have a problem with them, but if they're just living there, it's like that libertarian thing, like just leave me alone and let me do my thing. I'm not hurting somebody. The problem is that when you see like the results of people's decisions have an impact on other people, the downstream effects of those decisions, your lack of personal responsibility has an impact on other people, then yes, it is fucking hurting other people. And yes, it does affect those people's lives. And yes, it maybe those guys are actually talking about this shit because not necessarily because they don't care whether you fuck your life up or not. They don't want to be the ones picking up the tab because you made bad decisions.
Right. I mean, a lot of people, I used to think people say, well, why don't you want to have kids? Don't have kids. I'm supporting at least 3 of them now, just me individually with the taxes I pay. But then also, what was it? It was the kids. Oh, I also want to know how many of these NEETs, these neither in employment, education or training, how many of these NILFs, not in the labor force, how many chicken tendies did I order for you guys with Uber Eats? Fuck you. I'm not your dad. All right. I'm a goddamn taxpayer. I'm sick and tired of paying for your fat, can't find my dick because it's under a gunt ass. So you could go play World of Warcraft 7 and then like tell me, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Soldier's the patriarch of the corporation. Like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, and there's also a philosophical where it's like, I can't like, wow, like, don't you want to get out of this life? And they're like, fuck you. Or like when I tell women, like, look, you close the wage gap this way. Stop majoring in dumb shit. All right. Work as many hours as men. Ask for a raise a little bit more frequently. Why do you hate women? It's like, it's the complete fucking opposite. And after a while, and this is where I have moved on to my super misanthropic ways, I actively cheer these people on. I am enjoying watching you all because Hollywood ain't got no good movies no more. But by God, I can go see a bunch of people shooting up Adderall, snorting Xanax, whatever it is you do, constantly protesting for a student loan bailout at 38. It's like, wow, your life sucks. This is hilarious. It's like it feeds my soul to see your pain and misery. This is great. And so
you're taxed anyway, though, Aaron. Inflation.
Right. So I might as well enjoy it.
Yep.
Like,
no, I mean for the welfare thing where you're like avoiding it. It's like you can't. That's what inflation
No. I mean, it gives me every right to say get a job, but they're not going to. I say get a life, go do something, go get some kind of activity. No, and then they serve it to me with a cup of arrogant millennial. Fuck you! I know what I'm doing. Socialism is great, and give me more of your money. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, you can't afford housing. Ask me if I give a shit. Ask me if I care people under 40 are never going to own a home. It is freaking hilarious. But, I keep trying to tell you eat your fruits and vegetables, and you get, fuck you, Dad, I'm going to eat ice cream and cut my tits off and get the gender reassignment surgery. Like, good, have fun. How can I fund it? Oh, wait, I already am. So the only thing I could do is enjoy it. And so this is an academic discussion for any man because we're targeting men, but women can listen too. Look, you got a choice. Like that, I finally looked up. Ryan, you mentioned Elliot Page. I thought it was a guy who just looked effeminate. It was a girl before.
Ellen Page. Let's be
Ellen.
Yeah. Which one on YouTube do I have to say before I get banned? I have to say
named
Ellen. Elliot.
I will not.
What was
use language. I will use your real biological name. That was.
I just E-Dog. Whatever. Fuck it.
She was in some show, and they had to write into the show that her character was whatever trans, which came out of nowhere. It's like whatever Umbrella Academy. It's got like 3 seasons. It's actually a pretty good show, but like out of nowhere, she's like a main character in the show. Out of nowhere, they just like, oh, well, I'm trans now, and everybody was like, oh, okay.
Speaking of trans, I put out a tweet yesterday. Someone was showing a picture of these trans men that were pregnant, and I was like, just take a minute and think what it's going to look like in 30 years when all these children born from trans parents are running the country. Like, what does that look like to you in your mind? You know?
Well, we're going. I'm not worried.
It's gonna be.
The nuclear guy stealing luggage, wasn't that the case of it?
Yeah.
I watched this. What was it? It was a video on like writing dialogue or some shit like that, just completely off topic. And they were using that movie Inception as an example, right? And Ellen Page was in that movie, right? She was female in that movie. She was the female, I don't know, co-star or whatever. It was Leonardo DiCaprio and Ellen was in, Ellen. She was in the movie, right? They kept referring to her as Elliot. I'm like, no, that's a chick. She was Ellen Page or whatever the fuck her name was in that movie. But we're going to pretend that we're going to go along with it. And as long as you're using that language, all you're doing is reinforcing that. Stop using that fucking language. Stop using those pronouns. Stop speaking the language of fucking emotionalism to like, oh, it's okay. We're going to refer to you as a boy now, Elliot. You're doing them a disservice by not doing that.
Yeah.
But look at this painful conversation we're having. And this is the exhibit F I'd give to the audience. Do you want to live this kind of life? Like pronouns, like, are you like, you can tell someone has no life if they got the pronouns. Cause like, I don't care that I'm a guy. I was just born this way. I don't like him, his, that kind of, I got more important shit to do. Do the young people today that we're getting we're getting through to, do you want this life? And maybe it's not very clear, but if you don't want it, you want something else, get a job, support yourself. I mean, you can actually own a home. Prices are coming down. You could work in the trades. You could buy some land. You could build your own home. Thor, you put on your own solar panels. Lord knows how many other individual home projects you did.
Small. At least move out of your parents' house.
Well, but
you know, like, I'm sorry. I got this pushback a lot. And, you know, my ex was 8 years younger than me. So there was a slight difference in, you know, her friends and their friend group and the stuff that they did. And it was just so regular for all of them to keep living at home. It was normal. And they're like, oh, well, you don't understand. It was different, you know, 8 years before. And I was like, no, like I had friends who you'd have a 2-bedroom apartment and I'd have, you know, 6 friends who went in on that apartment and lived together. You know, like they found a way to get out of their parents' house. It wasn't like they had to share rooms. They had to sleep on couches. You know, like I had friends once in college. There was a guy who slept under like the staircase, like Harry Potter. You know, like if you're really serious about taking your life into your own hands and creating something, like you're gonna find a way. You're gonna find a way. You can't find 5-6 friends to go in and rent. Like
join the military, go live on a ship with 500 friends.
There you go.
That's what I did.
What now? Let me ask you guys.
I'll tell you that right now.
let me ask you guys this, and we'll kind of wrap it up and call it a day here. Have you ever had it where someone approaches you either through consultation or email or whatever, their life is an absolute wreck? They're living at home, and which, by the way, right now, my official stance is live at home, but work your ass off and save up the money for a down payment. Rent's a little expensive. I'm sympathetic. But not only are they living at home, they're not in school. They're not in training. They don't have a job. And then the final question. So they go through how their life is just utter shit. All right. What's the final question at the end?
How do I get the girls?
How do I get the girls? Like, motherfucker, none of you guys are getting the girls if you have nothing going on. And if you're living at mom and you are fat and you're like, you got an idealism, you got a operating system or ideology of parasitism and laziness and sloth, don't you even fucking bother with the girls. And I know I said remove the girls from the formula. All right. But what do you think girls are going to go out? Who do you think they're going to go out with? Like some guy who's sitting there like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to play my video games. Like, if you want to have any shot at women, you have to get a job. You have to have your place. You need to get your fucking driver's license.
Look, you Cappy, I don't want to be a dancing monkey.
You could probably, hook up with chicks, and do that on the regular. But if you want to have like a real girlfriend, which I think most of these guys do, you have to have something going on.
Right, and
for her to
I'm
stick
just
around. Yeah.
I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy where it's like, dudes, you get your life in order to get, be a man just for your own sake. The girls are so far down the road, but if deep down inside you want to get the girls, it is a long and arduous path. You got to go do it. And so don't even bother. Like, look, save yourself the pain and the effort of worrying about girls. Like, if you're not going to go and put in the basic effort to become an independent, if your obligation to society to not be a parasite, if you can't do that, no girl's going to want you. And though I'm, again, very constructively critical of women, there are some horror stories about the type of men out there that these girls have. I mean, the quality and caliber of men, the supply of men out there is shit. And until you're done being feces, don't expect girls to want to have anything to do with you.
I'm going to disagree a bit. One,
all right,
you were saying yourself, you don't want to work hard because the tax base is this. You don't want to do this. All the incentives are gone. What's left but getting laid as a motivator for anything? Like, seriously, what's left?
Incentivize.
Every guy here, everybody here with a notch count, and you guys will guarantee or call me out on this one. Some of the earliest and best and most enthusiastic sex you had is when you had milk crates for furniture and a mattress on the floor. Tell me I'm wrong.
Tell me I'm
wrong. 20 years ago. I wonder, do you think that still holds today? I know there's T-Rash and the criminal and the drug.
The most popular guy on earth. That lifestyle is clearly resonating among the youths.
Okay. All right. I have to look up this Sneeko character.
I vaguely saw a tweet once and then I heard a story and that's all I know. So I could be completely off. So don't base that. But you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, I doubt in 7 years since the iPhone is created, human beings have fundamentally altered to that level, to the point that even a generation ago, you can't have a sex story that somebody else and Gen Z, like, I'm not buying it.
All right. You would admit that they would have to be physically attractive. Like, you can't just be at home. You've got to see the inside of a gym and at least be physically presentable, correct?
And have hygiene.
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 Yeah, hygiene. I would say that for sure, but less so than usual. It's weird, that MP3 effect. Like 20 years ago, everybody is like, no, if it's not on vinyl, it sucks. Now everybody prefers that hiss of MP3 to the point they're adding it to like live performances so people can hear it. People have this weird way of preferring access over quality. Well, obviously I'd say, yeah, shower every day, but I think you could probably be nastier than you would have been in, say, 2004 and get away with it even now. But that's the point, right? The bar is lower. People haven't fundamentally changed. I have zero sympathy for people who can't carve out any success at all. Like, it's just, I don't understand it other than just giving up.
I think, and I agree. I'm going to give you another way. I'm going to halfway agree with both of you here. Is that the incentivizing guys? Like, if there's no pussy to be had, why do anything? Right? Was it if women would fuck in a cardboard box, like, men would never buy a house, kind of thing? Really, we're living that right now. Like, guys, you will say the juice is not worth the squeeze. So why would I even want to become successful or get out of mom's basement if there's no women that are worthwhile for me to go and better myself in the first place? And that's really because what they're seeing is they're saying, well, all these women are worthless. They're all ran through. By the time I am successful, the women who would be into me are going to be either full of themselves. They're going to be there. They don't want to settle for anything less than the best. And I don't want to get with hubristic bitches with like a single mommy who's made some bad decisions in her lives and everything else. They don't see the point in being better to get the chick in the end. Like, why would I want to go get a degree? Why would I want to own my own business? Why would I not just, do the bare bones minimum and not worry about that shit? Because even if I did all that stuff, the girl who would be the pussy at the end of the rainbow, that would not be worth all that effort and that energy and that time.
And then she might take half your shit at the end.
It's self-defeating. Don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's the mentality.
It is.
A lot of that
on top of that, you compound the fact that the government's taking like 46% of your hard-earned money in order to
Are you guys
build
Canada? What the hell?
In order to build robot dogs. So you're busting your ass so you can make more warplanes and war machines and this technology that's going to be used to enslave you. Awesome.
A lot of that idea, though,
you get fat chicks who are insufferable.
A lot of that,
and you get
the
robot
concepts,
dogs. Awesome.
a lot of the concepts out there too about like there's no good women out there and they're all ran through and all that stuff. It's like a lot of these guys have these self-limiting beliefs because they're sitting there too much watching shows on the internet, like, not to say anything bad about these guys, but Fresh and Fit, they're the most popular brand out there, but they showcase like trash women on purpose. It brings eyes in. And you get what you focus on in life. If you think that all women are trash women and they're all ran through and stuff like that, that's the only type of women you're ever going to run into. You know what I mean?
I would argue,
other decent women out there.
Maury Povich, Jerry Springer.
I agree. But I also say this is that in comparison to like TikTok, in comparison to seeing it 24, like you have to wait every other day or like 3 times a week to see the after hour show on Fresh and Fit. You don't got to wait to see that shit on TikTok.
Yeah, there's plenty of TikTok thoughts out there for sure.
You don't have to wait to see that shit on OnlyFans. You don't have to wait to see that on Twitter. You don't have to wait to see that on Instagram. You can go get it right. You can go see them right now if you'd like to. So it's this inundation of, I think it's a sort of
their worst.
Yeah, exactly. People at their worst, or people who think they're at their best, but like guys who don't think the juice is worth the squeeze see them as their worth. That's what I get at the end of all of my effort and my energy and my time. Why would I bother?
Wait, see, Rollo, and here's my point on this. They're at their worst because it's just some chick running her mouth, and you see, there's thin, decently, like at least mid-attractive people all over TikTok. Trust me, I see them all there. They're acting bitchy because they don't have to act any better than that. It gets attention on TikTok. I guarantee you put one of those girls in front of a man that gives them butterflies in their stomach, they start acting right. Why? Because they want that guy. And this is the part that I think people are missing with this disconnect. They think women don't change their behavior based on who they're talking to. Like, but they'll laugh at that meme you put out where the guy's like, hey, babe, and the other one's like, and she calls HR on the other one. Remember that? You had Justin Waller. She's like, yeah, I'll be your Polly. Destiny did it. She's like, HR, hello? They'll laugh at that, but they won't draw 2 and 2 together. All of these super cunty TikTok women, you put them in front of a guy that they're actively interested in, they act right because they want to act right. And I think people miss that. Girls don't love you for who you are. They love you for how you make them feel. They love you for what you do. And then when you do well and you make them feel right, they act better to get in your good graces, and then your job as a guy to let them know what things that they do to make you want them more.
And then they're entirely conflicted about this shit too, because it's like like Cappy and I think Paul to a lesser degree here is like, it's like, what's the end goal? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have babies? Do you want to have a long-term relationship? Do you want to have whether you marry or not, a wife, whatever that looks like in the future? Do you want to have that monogamy? Let's just say, do you want that? Yeah. Is that the goal? Is that the end? So am I going to go put all this energy into life to get a ran through wife who's a single mommy or whatever? Am I going to go and do that? I'll tell you what's ironic about this. And I've already seen this in the chat. People go, oh man, those bitches on Access Vegas or those cunts on Fresh and Fit, man, I would never date them. I think you can get really like self-righteous about the whole thing. I would never.
You don't have to worry about that, bro.
I have too much respect for myself to ever, or hell, we can even just do like, how would you open, Ryan? And guys will go, well, I wouldn't. I have too much respect for myself, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I would never date or marry a girl like that. It's like, you're the same dude who said you'd never marry in the first place. So why the fuck does it make any difference to you? Like,
dude, does that not sound like the opposite of
contradiction?
Yeah, does that not sound to you like the opposite of when chicks say like never do anything for the express pleasure of a man? It's like the guy's version. I would never fuck you.
I would never wife up a girl like that. Well, you just said before you wouldn't wife up anyone. So don't they cancel each other out?
We've talked about women enough because the whole point was to give men a purpose and reason outside of women, without women
we
around.
Don't have to give it to them. They should be
right, and that's I think obviously we've come to that conclusion. But I think we could conclude, and tell me if I'm wrong here, this is out of our control. We're just making the argument that every sentient person alive, male or female, but in this particular case, men, just because women are not in your life, either because they're not and they choose not to, or you don't want them, or whatever the reason, that doesn't mean or give you the excuse to sit at home getting chicken tendies through Uber Eats on my taxpayer dime, and not a responsibility even unto yourself to find some kind of purpose and meaning in life.
Well, that's
And so
my
I
question to you, Aaron. Sorry to cut
Yeah.
you off. What's the the marginal benefit or whatever? What's the alternative? All these
For
guys saying
what?
the juice isn't worth the squeeze. What else are they doing with their time and resources and effort, and why is it
Corner
better?
video games.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. Yeah, I mean, it varies, but so one final thing. Let's wrap up because I have things to do, and so do you guys. But let's say we all got the government cheese. All right, every guy here, I think, would be like, "Damn, I finally got some time to go do all this stuff I wanted." I'd be motorcycle riding out to Alaska. Rollo, you'd probably be playing guitars or playing in your band a little bit more. Paul, you'd probably be hiking Colorado. Fitch, you'd be building the counter dog. You'd be building the robot cat to counter the robot dogs. Thor, you would be, I don't know, building an M1 Abrams tank for your grandchildren. And Ryan, you'd be reading Noam Chomsky and thinking he's intelligent or something. But we'd all be doing something. But the people who have a free life, essentially, they don't do anything. They sit on their asses and get fat and essentially engage in vice and gluttony. And so I think that this lack of a will to live is what we're really trying to convey to anyone who's receptive to this audience. And look, I know going out and doing something is work, and work is very daunting, especially if you're brought up in a Democrat household. But just try it my way once. Just try and give it like 6 months. If you don't like it, you can always go back and say, "Oh my God, I think I have a case of the mental disorders. Give me my disability." And there'll be plenty of social workers coming in. But before you die, don't have your legacy be, "Oh, I lived off the taxpayer, I collected government checks, and I hated the Womans." That's basically what I'm pointing out with this.
Simple, salt of the earth kind of life,
Yeah. Let's go through real quick concluding thoughts, what you're doing. And then just so you know, we will be going over super chats. Panel, you're invited to stick around if you want, but I always want to make sure I answer people's super chats. Let me try and do the single screen thing, solo layout. Rollo, go ahead. Yeah, I think. There we go.
My show tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And Ryan, you are invited. I would love to have you on so that we can sort of talk about the future of the manosphere. That's probably going to be leaning, I think, more towards tradconism right now. We were just talking about that in this show right here. Honestly, I think you're going to see a lot more upplay, let's just say, of the Matt Walsh's the Daily Wire thing that's going on between, like, say, what Steven Crowder and stuff like that, and how it sort of affects the red pill space. But I'd love to get you on for a conversation, Ryan, tomorrow, if you are available. But I would definitely want to do that. Other than that, I think the Dr. Phil show is finally going to air sometime within the next 10 days. I think they keep pushing the dates on me. Like, they said it was going to be the 16th, then they pushed it to 26th, then they pushed it to 27th. Now they're pushing it past that. I'll let you know when it is, but it might be this week. I don't even know at this point, but they're hinting that it's going to be pretty soon. So I'll let you guys know about that when it comes up. It was so long ago, I even forgot. It's almost irrelevant because we shot that in the middle of November 14th or 15th, I think it was. I can't even believe they're actually going to be re-upping it, but I think they're probably re-recorded certain parts of it to be more relevant to what's going on with the Tates right now. But that's what I got going.
Cool. Paul, I'm pulling you up. Just give me a sec. I got boomer technology skills here. There, hang on.
Yeah, you do.
There we go.
There you go. Got the floor, Paul.
All right. Tune into the Come On Man podcast on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. Monday's episode, my friend Richard Joy, the host of Awakened Man on YouTube, joins me. Check out my course. All of the coupon codes have been used up. So if you've been considering taking my practical law of attraction course at a discount, you missed the boat on that. But still, if anything we've said has resonated with you, if you know that you want to improve your circumstances, but a little voice in the back of your mind says that you can't do it, or that you're not good enough, or whatever, that's your paradigm talking. And you can change your paradigm. And that's what my practical law of attraction course is about. It's not about magic or genies granting wishes. Okay. It's practical advice that you can take to change your mindset and change your circumstances. So if you truly want to get better results, check it out today, not tomorrow, today. Actually take some action. Get off your ass. That's all I got.
There we go. All right, let me get Thor.
Well, thanks, man. It was
There
a
we
great
go.
topic today. I think we're going to get more men like this when we make victimhood a virtue. So come and watch me if you can. I got a show coming up in a little while. It's my panel show where, we do a bunch of whammon-splaining. And today we're going to talk about on the Dragon Ship, non-monogamous dating. And is it a degenerate lifestyle? Of course, it's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. So don't take it so serious, all you guys out there and you Sparks. Come watch us on RP Thor and the Dragon Ship. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Thor. And then John, did you see the oh, hang on. Did you see that link I sent you? You're muted, John.
I did see the clip. It's terrifying. It is. I'm gonna send you something though that's even more terrifying. Well, I mean, I guess if it's available to us and we can buy our own robot dogs, that's a little bit nicer.
What do you got going on, Fitch?
But I'm still working on the practical self-defense. I'm working on that. I'm teaching classes here in San Jose. I'm starting a wrestling class maybe next Saturday. The one after, it's either 11 or noon. So if you're in the Bay Area and you need some wrestling, come check it out. But yeah, go to johnfish.net, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get updates on when I get my stuff together.
Cool. Ryan, let me get you here.
Take your time. Take your
Man,
time.
look at
news,
this.
everybody.
Look at that. Look at that, man.
Yeah, it's nice. All right. WrestleMania will be over on Sunday when author Rollo Tomaso and Roger Tomarso and I, yeah, talk about trads and goofy nonsense and try to give you guys some actual information. Nachos, I believe, is the reference we use. So check that out. Sunday. After this, in about half an hour, I'm going to go on with Allie. And we're just gonna, shoot the shit. Guys with our red pill, girls with their pink pill. I figure there'll be some good talk with the girls don't belong in the manosphere, which is funny because we all agree, but I think guys mistake that for wiping women off the face of the earth. So it'll be a good fun talk anyway. And geez, I'm really leaning into this. Beyond that, Praxeology Volume 1. As this podcast happened, just crossed the first 1,000 sales in the first 30 days, which is
no kidding.
And I have no idea if that's good, but for me, that's crazy. So heartfelt appreciation to everybody out there. I'm looking forward to seeing a hell of a lot more switched on people who don't lose their shit on Twitter every time somebody throws a goofy shit post at them named Ryan Stone. So it'll be good. Feel free, check it out. Get the paperback if you can. But the Kindle's probably better and more accessible and a little cheaper if you're price sensitive. And then you'll learn the first third of everything the last 12 years in my experience of the Red Pill has taught anybody. First bit's about frame, and then it'll prime you for the future. The next book is coming out. It's going to be about dread, how to handle a marriage of quiet desperation and come out of it better. So that's it for me.
All right. And then me real quickly. How do I put myself on here? Hey! Oh, here it is. So real quick, if you would kindly subscribe to the channel, guys. I'm so close to 100,000. That's just I know if you guys could tweet me out or something, subscribe to this douchebags channel, then I will have my 100,000. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Also, link down below are products, books that are germane to this topic of information. The first one, Achieving Financial Excellence. If you want to first step, get your financial act together, and I have a class on Teachable. They're called Achieving Financial Excellence. So don't worry about, do I get the girls? No, you stop eating chicken tendies off of my taxpayer EBT card. That's what you do, you fat pieces of shit. There's also Bachelor Pad Economics, obviously also financially related, getting your financial act together. And then for you younger people, if you want to start out, there's a book called How Not to Become a Millennial. And if you don't have a dad and you're looking for guidance and you don't want us to tell you what to do, please pick that book up, which will go through the horror and the sociological disaster that was known as the millennials and what you can learn from that generation and what the millennials can do to turn their life around. But something's going to tell me they're just going to want more chicken tendies. And that's it. That's all I got. I want to thank you guys for being on the show. For those you guys want to stick around, field some super chats, you guys got to get going.
Yeah.
I got 15.
I'm good. Do it.
All right, let's do it. We'll get through these very quickly.
I expect somebody to come up with a Aaron Clary chicken tendies meme right after the show.
I am Santa Claus giving chicken tendies.
Give him a good
Glenn,
face for
friend
the
of
photo. won't even
Glenn
look.
for $2 talks sacrilege, saying Spirit Airlines sucks. It does not suck. It is an amazing company that flies you at 600 miles per hour across the country for $38. Maybe it smells like feet, but that's all right. Bobby Sword Juice, new guy, $10. The least threatening mofos have somehow become a threat in this new age. It's kind of like the Borg. Like, you get enough losers together, they'll pose a real threat. Chris is not here. The tornado chasing kid, $2. Ivy the dog deserves to be on rule 0. I have not seen that dog in 10 days. The owner has a boyfriend now, and I'm kind of going through dog withdrawal. Because really, you don't realize how much you like those dogs until they're gone.
I'll bring Ned down.
Yeah. Maybe we didn't. Glenn Lawrence again, $2. Emotionalism has ruined it. It has ruined men's lives. You guys, you could be emotional, but just you gotta be logical first. Are we done? Oh, Chris is not here. 10 generous dollars. It's bad now. Just so you guys know, Chris is like a 21-year-old kid. He tornado chases and does van life.
Oh, that's
It's
this guy.
bad now. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, he's cool. Take a look at his Instagram. It's bad now. Imagine the kids below the age of 10 that are forced to do social distancing and wear face muzzles. What's going to happen when they get into positions of power in 20 years? That is a good point. My internet is slow.
Should star these next time.
Oh, what do you mean star? What? Huh?
Little star there. They'll put them in a little folder choice.
all right.
Luck, you no longer talk me to get. He still doesn't have redirects on. I've been telling him for 2 months.
I just let me boomer my boomer ways. Damn it. Generic username 5 British pounds. Banter is banned from the workplace in the UK because fifis are hurt. That's one reason right there where you guys need to get we didn't come into the topic. But self-employment for any man who respects his freedom, you're just going to have to not have anything to do with corporate America. You're going to have to be a contractor or something else.
Yep.
And that we may be able to see where men are like, nope, I'm not doing it. And then all of a sudden these corporations like, well, we don't have enough. It's already happening. They don't have enough employees. Well, don't make it just an insufferable nightmare to work there. So what do? I star them while they come in, and it just puts them in a list.
Yeah, it's easier.
If you hover your mouse over them, Clary, there's a little star thing in the right. You
All
click
right.
on that, it saves it off to the side.
Oh,
and you can look at it later. I know, it's amazing.
Boy. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that next time. Digi Nomad, $2 Canadian, 100,000 Cappy. Let's go. I'm sincerely hoping so. Yeah, that would be more efficient, wouldn't it?
Don't worry. I'll teach you how to use email when I come down to Vegas next time.
Will you? Oh my goodness. Ad clogs, $2 Cappy. Can I get a loud and proud woo? No. Watch my previous video on why fat, loud, middle-aged white women need to be loud in public. They ruined my night at my cigar lounge.
Is he talking about a Ric Flair type of woo? Woo!
No, not no.
Sideways.
Hand clogs, $5. But Cap, you told me to be a neat prawn in video games, right? Rolo, sedate yourself, relax, enjoy the ride, man. Say hi to Ned.
That's right.
No, there are these two fat. I'm like, I don't need an elephant gun, but apparently now I do. Come on, that's it. Shaft driven metal, $5. There you go, Rolo. I'm a TFM, LOL. We do have to get TFM on one of these days.
I'll definitely talk to TFM. He's actually wanted to do something with me for a long time now. I really got to get back to him.
And I missed him on the first one. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, we got to be straight up honest with him. Like, look, you can't say to take women's rights away. You can't. I know he doesn't like the YouTubes, and he has that right. But if he's on YouTube, we just got to have a sit down chat. And stay on top because he does have interesting insights. Brian Dupree, $5. I only feel obligated to be a man to the men in my life I respect. I don't feed the homeless for me. I do it for my coach who needs help feeding them.
It's a good take. Treat your gifts as gifts. Don't just give them away.
What are gifts? That sounds like
everything about him is a gift. He's talking about this when he wants to feed the homeless. That's a gift he's giving to somebody else. Don't just do that for free. He does it because his coach needs help. So
Gift.
he's doing it because people show value to him. It's like the most red pill thing ever.
Oh, okay.
Don't self-sacrifice for no reason.
I'm still wrapping my mind around gifts.
It's like entitlement, but not mean and not government.
Oof, that doesn't sound good at all. This sounds like. Do I
Sounds
get
like
anything?
communism.
Do I get anything in return for giving away gifts?
Holy, you must be a Jehovah's Witness. No birthdays. No
Are
Christmas?
they transactional?
I'm done.
All
I
right,
can't.
John Juando, €2. Advocating for work capping needs to be stopped. Donor 99, $5. There's definitely something in the water for the youngsters, but let's not put Kitty on a pedestal. They just keep coming. Jenkins, $2. Rollo, when 24-hour streams. What's that?
Marathon.
Telethon?
Oh man.
Like Jerry Lewis?
I should think I should do like a full on like charity thing for like Greyhound rescues for 24 hours.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I could do it.
Christoph Anon, $5. Here's some cash while you have to split it 6 ways. Oh, you dick. By the way, I'm not gifting you guys 5-6 of the super chats, if you were wondering that. So, President-elect pressure, 666 satanic chicken tendies. Oh, that'd be a great. Chick-fil-A offers that. Atham, $2. Get a raccoon pet, Clary. I will.
Not legal in every state.
Get
I
a
won't.
possum.
Killer Mittens, $2. He has nothing to say. Thanks, Killer Mittens. That's it. Boom, we're done. All right. See you guys later. Toodles.
All right.